All right. Do you have any other?
Well, I think Senator Schiff is I thought maybe, since we have a glass ceiling for only women asking questions here.
We kind of like that.
I mean, Holly came by, Blumenthal, they've all had other hearings. They're great and been really helpful to us. Maybe I'll just ask two more and see if he can make it.
Go ahead.
Mr. Thayer, in your written testimony, you referenced a European study that found that after the passage of GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation.
I'm going to have to jump in here because they need me to go to VA to vote.
That's where he is.
So, that's where
Blumenthal is.
that's where Senator Blumenthal is. So I will say my thank yous to you all in case I don't get back before this closes, and remind you all that we're going to have questions for the record. As you can see, we have lots of questions, and we are ever so grateful that you all have come before us. I'll go vote.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for putting together this hearing. So I was talking about the GDPR. We know we don't like everything the Europeans are doing on tech, but there are some good examples of some good things they've done. What about GDPR? Were big tech platforms able to take advantage of to entrench their position? And how can we avoid doing the same in the U.S.? And how can we design data privacy standards that rein in abuses? What's the good things we can get out of that? I know there's things we could simply do here that they are agreed to in Europe that we're still fighting out over here.
So it's a fantastic question, and I think it really comes down to defining your goals. That was like the first big issue. But in terms of what happened with the GDPR, and to be clear, there are elements of the GDPR that I think a lot of states have latched onto, is particularly Texas, where they pulled this analytical framework between data controllers and data processors. Being able to articulate exactly who has the responsibility is a big part of it.
I just want to have the record reflect that Texas used the European model, but keep going.
I fell right into it, yeah. But I think where things went a little bit awry, where there was this weird responsibility that the controllers basically had with respect to contractual regulations. I think it's Article 24 of the GDPR, where the controller basically has to dictate specifically, first, whether or not they have to make the assessment of whether or not the processor is even GDPR compliant. And that gives the controller a lot of authority over what that smaller company most likely can do and can't do. I think that's one area we may want to stay away from. But my overall point was that you need privacy and strong antitrust enforcement and competition enforcement. I think both two things go hand in hand. And so I think what Congress is currently looking at, and I think is very important, is that you guys it seems like you guys want to walk and chew gum, which is why I very much appreciate, where you have these competition reform bills that are currently being discussed. You are a sponsor of that, Senator, which is the Open App Markets Act. I think that goes a long way in quelling some of those concerns. But one of the things I would caution against is creating an overly generalized authority and allowing the controller to have the pure mandate, or at least the pure control to control what the smaller companies are doing. I think that's one way you can avoid some of the pitfalls.
Okay, last two questions. Mr. Martino, and they're related, and then I'll turn to Senator Schiff. We're very excited you're here. Yes, thank you. Mr. Martino, you can follow up on that, but could you talk about the challenges small businesses have operating across state lines quickly? Because I want to give Senator Schiff a chance here.
Yeah, certainly, Senator. First, let me just follow up real quickly. I wanted to add a point to what Mr. Thayer was saying. It's just that there are some things that are problematic in the GDPR, and some of the expectations put on controllers envision a construct where the controller is the big company and they're getting these smaller processors to do what they want. And that's not what's developed here in the US, where you have very few almost monopolistic big tech companies who are doing the vast majority of the processing consumers need, including transmission, including broadband and cable. And think about how a Main Street business might only have a choice of one broadband provider, and imagine trying to negotiate that contract. I mean, they don't do as they do the same as we do when we try to, argue about a cable bill or a broadband bill. So we've all had that experience. In terms of the multi-state operations, yeah, it's sort of a sense that, I put in my original testimony, many of us live in areas that are tri-state or multiple states are close by. There is, travel across state lines, there's shopping, and then certainly online. If there's a boutique, store in Minnesota that while you're here in Washington, doing your job here, you want to make a purchase from there, you are engaging in interstate commerce. And so it's really important that, and these privacy laws tend to be set up to apply to the location where the consumer is. So if you're in D.C. and you don't have a privacy law, are they complying with privacy law there? So what these small businesses need to do is they have to, there's a de facto national standard because they have to comply with all these different states, but they're constantly changing. New laws are coming online. So Congress can do a really helpful job by passing a uniform national standard.
Yes, and last question here, Mr. Butler. You've advocated for a federal privacy law as well, but you want one that sets a floor. Obviously, this is all going to be political negotiations, but could you talk about why you would take that approach?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Senator Klobuchar. As Mr. Martino alluded, I think for the vast majority of businesses in this country, they just want to know what the rules are. And Congress's traditional role in privacy laws has been to set the baseline standard, but allow states to address new challenges and threats as they emerge. And that's been true. And I could, I have the list here. I could rattle off the list of acronyms. But if you look at federal privacy statutes, by and large, they don't set a ceiling on the level of protection that states can provide. But what's really essential here is for the federal Congress to step in and say, here's what the consistent standard is. And I think if they do that, then we'll have a consistent standard, companies will know what to comply with, and states still have the flexibility in the future to address new issues.
Thank you. Senator Schiff?
Thank you. And